Hi, Gina. How are you doing?
Good. I hope I can be heard.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yay!
We will have some people trickling in and get things kicked off at promptly at 3:30, I believe.
Yeah. I just had it up and running because I didn't know if it had to update or not. So I'm like, let's just get it up and running early.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
So who was it? Did somebody get exposed to COVID or?
Yes, our actually Barb that's doing the presentation today, she tested positive, but she was feeling well enough that she could still do this for us, so we just moved it to Zoom.
Alrighty. Well, I hope she's I'm glad she's doing better. I hope she'll get better.
Yeah, it's I think day 5 of her quarantine.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
How are you doing?
Doing all right. It's still drinking from a fire hose, I feel like. So
I mean, staying hydrated is important.
yeah, but it's been good. Just tons of work and prepping to getting everything ready for all of this today. So excited to get everything shared and rolled out.
Yeah.
So do you have a facility? Is that where you're at right now?
Yep.
Cool.
It's inside the Camp Bow Wow.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Yeah, so I'm in the break room, so you'll probably hear dogs barking in the background.
Oh, that's all right. Hi there.
Hello.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Everybody has spaces. How nice.
Yes. I'm just a bobbing head.
It's okay. If she looked up like any earlier, I would have been the same.
Well, I mean, isn't that what Zoom is? Just bobbing heads on a camera?
Pretty much.
Not wrong.
We all spend tons of time on here.
Surprisingly, I haven't.
That's good.
Since summer, I haven't really had to since summer started.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I went on. Actually, it was Windows Teammates that I had to do for the class. And then everyone started using Skype again, and then Zoom, and yeah, a lot of video platforms came to light.
They really did.
Yeah. It's a good thing I don't know how to use the filters on Zoom. It would probably be bad unless I want to look like a cat and like what happened to the judge. He was, or the attorney, he was just a cat for the entire thing.
Was that the attorney? I thought that was the person being prosecuted.
I don't know. I just know somebody was stuck as a cat.
That was really funny. Oh my goodness.
It was, and it was the sad kitten too.
He's like, I'm sorry.
Like, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do this.
Oh, I think I don't know how to use Zoom beyond getting into chat.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my knowledge.
It's okay. I'm like, as long as I know how to work the video and audio and the chat, I'm good.
Yep. It's so much easier than WebEx. WebEx was like the biggest pain because at some point during my classes, the audio just like said no.
That's fair.
It just disappeared, and I like messed with all of the settings, everything related to audio, and it just wouldn't fix itself. So
It said, I'm done for the day. Bye.
It was like, I'm done for the rest of the semester. Bye. Good luck. Just like.
Well, that's better than what Windows teammates did. Whenever we would start a class, some of our audios would work, others would not, and you had to restart your entire computer. Like, you can just close out of the app or whatever. No, you had to restart the entire computer.
Yeah, I remember my little brother using Windows Teams. It was not fun.
No, it's not. Just start bobbing the heads.
Nothing else to do. We got here like super early.
We did. Well, I was just making sure it didn't have to update or anything too.
Mine had to update. But the email I got was like, this starts at 3, and I'm like, okay. Kim comes here at 3. It's like, this meeting starts at 3:30. Okay.
I mean, it's better to be early than late.
It is. But then I went to get myself water and came back, and it's like, it said something about like it had begun. It like couldn't get into chat, and I'm like, wait, what?
Oh.
What about chat?
Hi, Barb.
I heard another voice.
Hi. Hey, so I'm logging in, but I still have a couple of things I need to do really quick to get my presentation ready. So I will also be off for a minute.
Okay.
Right.
Hello.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Oof.
I should probably mute the phone. Just gonna add.
No, I should probably mute my messages on my computer so they don't, if my friends find something funny, they don't blow up the computer during a presentation.
I mean, yes.
It happened during with my interview for the internship, and I was
Like, sorry, my friends are, yeah.
my friends found something funny, and now they're blowing up the chat, and I need to mute that real quick.
Like, give me 2 seconds.
Just give me a couple seconds. I'm not gonna be able to hear you over their fangirling.
That's fair.
Oh my god, I forgot how to mute my stuff.
Oh, that's not what I needed. Okay. I need to exit the YouTube thingy so it doesn't start playing. It's just lo-fi music, it's fine, but still. Let's not have it play during a meeting or class.
Might get a little inconvenient. I remember how I did this, and I think it was that. Let's hope so. I forget how to use Discord like all the time.
That's fair. Discord is an interesting little thing.
It is so weird. There we go.
Okay. Done.
So how have you guys been doing?
Busy.
So out of curiosity, is this event supposed to be like 30 minutes or an hour?
It will be an hour, and we're gonna do some breakout rooms and do some activities. But they're fun, I promise. We wouldn't have you do something that's not fun.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, if it's an activity, it has to be fun, right? I think that's like the
Well,
unspoken rule.
you know, I mean, just because we couldn't meet in person doesn't mean we still can't have fun, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can have fun in all sorts of ways.
Whether it be finding something in the place you're sitting or just, I don't know, a really good game of show me what's around you.
What random stuff do you have on your desk in front of you?
I have somebody's bag.
I have
One of my
potions.
coworkers' bags.
I have little potions I made
Ooh,
for like props. I just have this like
hey,
right in front of my desk, right in front of my workspace.
gotta be ready for Wizarding Worlds. You
Truly,
never know.
gotta be prepped and ready.
Yeah. I mean, I have a bunch of dog treats, so.
I think dog treats are a very valid treat to have, especially considering I can hear the doggos in the background.
Yep. Surprisingly, those are the camp dogs too.
The camp dogs?
Yeah, so No Hound Unhomed is we operate inside of Camp Bow Wow. So there's client dogs and then there's the fosters.
Oh. And the ones that are going crazy are the client dogs?
Yep. To be fair, they're all in yards. They're all playing. And whenever the dog is normally here, it's like my owner isn't here, so I get to bark, something I'm not allowed to do at home.
Like children.
Yes.
They're like children.
They really
Oh,
are.
we're not at home, so I get to do this.
Yep, they're four-legged children. It's kind of hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
God, I wish I could get my family to get a dog.
I mean, always more than welcome to volunteer and play with them and cuddle with them. You know.
Might bring my siblings to go do that. They'd be so happy.
I mean, tire them out, tire the dogs out. It's a win-win.
It would be a win-win.
That's a fair bet. Yeah, that's valid. I mean that's completely fair. Soda does a lot. It does a lot.
I don't like energy drinks, so soda's the next best thing.
But that's fair. I just have tea. It's good tea. Good now, stretching.
Hello.
No.
Oh my God.
Another voice appeared.
Yeah. They're just gonna start popping up more and more, getting closer to time.
Good, right? You know.
Very slowly, we will have all of the people.
I'm back and I plugged in my headphones. How does the sound?
I
Keep
hear you.
talking a little bit.
It's choppy a little bit.
No, there you go.
Yes.
Okay. Just twist the plug. That's so analog.
Jiggle it, just jiggle it a little.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
Hold your mouth just the right way.
Right.
Hello, early birds.
Hello.
Hello.
Which Debbie is that? We see someone named Debbie. It just says Debbie though. Is that
Debbie
Equine.
from Tillman's Corral, sorry.
That's okay. Hi.
I'm just writing you a note today. I'm sorry I'm so early, but last time there was an issue with the link for the thing, and so I thought I'm gonna come in early to make sure there's not an issue.
Debbie, it's great to see you.
You too, but please just ignore me. Do your thing.
Okay, it's okay. I'm just so sad we had to do this digitally instead of in person. Oh well. And hello, Wayne. It's good to see you.
Of course, that's been sad for a long time already.
I know. And we were like so excited, like we're gonna get together in person again. And then COVID is really not over.
Right.
Hi, Barb. Finally unmuted.
All right, well done. That's gonna happen to me 4 times today. I'll be talking and you guys will have to be like, you're unmuted.
We can assist with the unmute for you. Rachel and I can.
Okay, good. I might need that. I've always been like super savvy with technology, but seriously, something about like turning 50 and then getting older, it's like, it's somehow you like, I end up being like the person who's like, I can't find the button to do the thing. So I just have to laugh at it. And let's see if I can share my presentation. Courtney, can you give me the powers?
Yes, I can.
I'm hoping that I can share this and then still look at something else that has my actual notes on it. Let's see. See the matching grants?
Yeah.
Screen on that. Okay. So now let's see if I can look at something else. Do you guys still see the the same thing you saw a minute ago, the Fearless Fundraising,
Yes.
#1 slide? Yay! Sometimes technology works. All right. Hopefully that will keep working. I did already. Started talking with the mute on. I was just saying, okay, is everyone gonna come at like 1 minute after? I know we have way more people than this.
Yeah, there's a bunch more folks signed up, so I'm guessing that will be it.
Oh, there's a lot more now, actually. Hello, everyone. Hello, Jennifer Peterson and Harley and Sydney and Megan and Augusta. Did that right? I don't know if we've met. Christine. Oh, she's still connecting. Denny, it's great to see you.
Hi, Barb. So great to see you.
Hi. I wish it was in person.
I know. Next time.
Yep, next time. This way I won't give any of you COVID. I'm actually on day 5 of my quarantine, or isolation, I should say, to be precise. All right. If Alicia was still here, we'd have some dance music in the background, but we're just not quite up to her amazing skills with the Zoom meetings. So we have our, oh my gosh, it looks like it's actually 3:30. We should get started. We know we'll have lots more people joining.
So yeah, they're just popping on. I can watch the little number of participants just keep rising. So we'll just go ahead and do some quick introductions. I am Courtney Doozer. I am the executive director here at Give, and it is an absolute honor to serve all of you. We have Rachel. Rachel, do you want to unmute? And
yes, hi, I'm Rachel and I am the new campaign manager, and I also just echo that we're bummed that this isn't in person, because being in person is so much fun, but we're glad that you're all here, and yeah, thanks.
And last but not least, we have Barb Van Hoy with us. Being a trooper, going through that COVID and still here to train us. So we are very grateful. And we really just want to thank all of you for, oh gosh, I hate using the word pivot, but pivoting with us as we pulled this from an in-person event to online. I guess we can start with, we have too many folks to really do out loud introductions, but if everybody wants to type who they are, who they're with, and how many years they've been involved in the Give campaign over in the chat, a nice little icebreaker, give a few minutes, couple minutes to get those intros made. Hi, Christine.
Audio. There it is. I think I got it now.
Okay, you might want to mute yourself.
Okay.
Hello.
Bye.
Oh, we heard that the last person.
Sorry.
Oh.
I love seeing who's here. Thanks, everybody. Debbie, do you know how many years?
I really don't, because between Youth Symphony and Children's Chorale, I lost track. Sorry. I don't think either of us did it the first year that you were in existence. So it may have been from the second year on, actually, but a long time. All great. Obviously, or we would not be back.
Yay. Well, I think that's probably 13.
Yeah, awesome. We have so many folks. We're so excited to see everybody here. Awesome. There's Wayne.
How many people? I wonder if I would see the reaction. So if people remember on the, I know you probably all know this, I don't need to say it, but the reactions on the Zoom controls. Can you raise your hand if you have been to the Fearless Fundraising training when Michael Hannigan gave it. All right, there's some actual hands. I love it. Susan is here. Hi, Susan. I can't see everybody. There you are. It's like I just get like, I'm getting 5 squares at a time. Hey, everybody. Sonia. I'm just going to call out names as I see them. Hi, Beth. It's great to see everyone. I wish, I know I'm going to say that I'm a broken record. I wish we were in person next time. I got to hug a lot of you at the orientation, which is great. Okay, so should we go on to just kind of announcements? What's coming up next?
Yeah, so we are still in the process of getting, we need a couple more trainings scheduled, but we do have the next one, and that will be a really, really good one. We're going to have Amber Cote join us. And for those of you who don't know her, she's just an absolute rock star in the nonprofit community. And with a previous job, did a lot of work with boards. So we are hopefully going to bring her in and give y'all some advice and tips and help on how to get the most out of your board, because that is something I think everybody struggles with a little bit. But yeah, just we'll keep you updated on that calendar. Like I said, it's kind of a work in progress right now. And we are looking to get a few more meet and greets, just the kind of the more fun social events. Ooh, bless you, goodness. So yeah, just if you have any ideas, reach out to Rachel or I, and we'd be happy to work with you, coordinate something, get something on that calendar, get some more, hopefully get some more meetings in person. Barb, are you ready to roll? I think I hit our updates, and we'll hit some updates again at the end. So
did we, I just want to make sure Rachel might have something. We'll talk about it at the end, but like the newsletter thing.
Yeah. So just a quick reminder, everyone, hopefully because you're here, that means you are receiving the newsletters, but those are going out either on Mondays or Tuesdays. And we've just had a ton of trouble with those e-newsletters getting into people's spam folders, and so they're not seeing them. So please, please, please make it a habit to check your spam folders on Tuesday afternoons, because by that time you should for sure have an e-newsletter. And also make sure to join our Facebook group for the class of 2022 for this year, because we are publishing those newsletters to that group as well, so that if you're not receiving the emails for whatever reason, you can find the pertinent information there. So just a friendly reminder to make sure to be looking for that information, because it's coming out weekly on Mondays or Tuesdays.
yay, newsletters.
Hey, just to clarify, it's a different one than last year's, right? They're their own classes and own Facebook pages?
Yes. So
totally missed that. Thanks.
Yeah, in the last 2 newsletters, there's been a QR code. So you should be able to put that in your phone, and it'll bring up the new one, and you'll request to be in the new group, and we will accept you. And then you'll see all the posts.
Thank you for that very good question.
Any more questions at this point?
There will be plenty soon.
Yes, there will.
All right.
We're going to turn it over to Barb. Again, thank you. We're so grateful to have you here, and being under the weather. Yeah.
Well, I have to say that there's nothing like getting to talk with and help support the incredible missions of the nonprofits in the Give campaign to fuel me with the energy that I need to be able to do this, even as I'm recovering. However, I still have to give the little bit of a disclaimer. It's been a couple of years since I've given this training. So please, thank you for your grace, as I might be reading a few things a little bit rusty, but This material is, as many of you know who've been in the campaign so long, who keep coming back even to this training, you know how important it is. A lot of the reminders, sometimes new information, a lot of it is just remembering the most important things to focus on in order to raise the most amount of money you possibly can for your missions in the Give campaign. So that just gets me excited. It's not the money part, but it's the missions. It's really supporting the work that you all are doing. Okay, so as many of you know, I served as the executive director of the Give campaign from 2016 through 2020. And as I said, I'm thrilled to be back helping to support the Give campaign and also as a board member now. Last year, the Give campaign helped 82 local nonprofits raise $1.6 million to fund their work. And about 1/3 of that total came from matching grants. And the matching grants that were part of that really fueled so much of the rest of that, those funds that were raised. So let's see if I can control this right. Are you seeing the next slide? Research shows. Great. So I didn't update the research, but I know there has been more, but because it keeps being true and it keeps being even more true. That research shows utilizing matching grants, some people call them challenge grants, you can talk about them in different ways, truly increases not only the response rate, which is how many donors, how many people decide to give to you. This one particular study showed that it would increase the number of people who would give to you by 22 to 31%. It also increases the donation size. When people know that their donation to you is going to be matched for all the different reasons, it encourages them to give more than they otherwise would. And some campaigns have seen an increase in revenue of 51 to 55%. And the more you use them, the bigger you can make those numbers. So again, I know this is a reminder for a lot of you, but very important reminders. So the matching grants, particularly if you're new to them, but even if you're not, they can be a little bit complicated. Ultimately, they have a huge, wonderful impact on how much money that you can raise. It provides a call to action, all kinds of things. Talk about a little bit of those, some of those later. But it's really important in order to be successful that you communicate very clearly with your donors about what the guidelines are for matching grants. We'll talk about those in a minute. But these resources that the Give campaign is providing for you will help you make sure you have all the information you need. So in your newsletter every week is a link to a document that's called the resource library. And it has links to all of the documents and information that you need to use the most. It's a great reference if you don't already have it bookmarked. And again, there's a new one now for 2022. You want to bookmark that. And in that resource library, there's a section called Matching Grants, and there's a link to the agreement submission form. There's a link to the grant information sheet and to the matching grant toolkit, as well as the DIY playbook. All of these resources are going to help you be more successful with your matching grants. In fact, I reread all of them in the last few days and was like, yes, these are really good. They're still really good. We updated all the deadlines and all that. Did somebody have a question? Sorry, I thought I heard something. Feel free to break in with a question if you have one. And then also Rachel and Courtney are watching the chat. So if you want to put a question in the chat, they will can help let me know as well. And Rachel, are you already putting the links to the resource library and all that in the chat in case people want to see it?
You kind of broke out there. Can you make sure that your mic is close to you, Barb?
Oops. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. Is this better or is it the same?
That's better.
Okay. Yeah, do let me know if that happens. Thank you. Okay, so all of these resources are going to help you. And I want to specifically encourage you to use the matching grant information sheet. This is the sheet that really explains what the matching grant is, how it works, and it's aimed at the people who you are asking to become your matching grant donors. So it is kind of meant to help them understand it, provide all the guidelines that they need to know. And it also has lines to fill in the information that you're going to need for every matching grant in order to submit that grant to the Give campaign with the submission form. And again, lots of pieces of information. As you go through it, you'll see why we need all of them. So it's a lot of work, but again, very much worth the payoff. And now is also a great time to remind folks, including those who have been around a while and done this, the Give campaign always really appreciates and welcomes your suggestions for improvement. I think one of the links in the resource library is the suggestion box. And you can click on that and make a suggestion or just email it. Or call. Phone calls are always good too. They're getting to be old fashioned, but they're really good too. Okay. So here are the main guidelines that you need to know about your matching grants. They must be submitted online to the Give campaign no later than August 26th, 2022. The minimum matching grant amount, oh wait, I changed my slides, but not yours. There we go. So August 26th, make sure that's in your calendar as the deadline to submit all your matching grants. The minimum amount of a single matching grant is $500. We can talk about the board match in just a minute. Every nonprofit in the Give campaign is expected to raise at least one matching grant. This is really key to your success in the Give campaign for many reasons, both in the impact you're going to have by asking people, even if they say no. And then once you get at least one, if not more, how much that's going to make your campaign more successful. So you really are expected to raise a minimum of one matching grant. If you think that's going to be hard for you, feel free to reach out to anyone on the staff. And there's other volunteers who can help talk you through that. They're very much doable. All of the payments are due to the Give campaign no later than October 7th, 2022. So those will be held in trust by the Give campaign. And those need to be paid ahead of time so that we know when we're publishing them on the website that they are in fact real true matching grants. And so that's why we do that. They also need to be paid by check, except by special request. And all this information is going to be provided to you and your matching grant donor when you submit your matching grant through the submission form, because you'll get a copy of the agreement with all this information that will help remind you. Oh, look at that. Somebody is using the the annotation feature. By the way, you can click on the eraser and then click back on that if you want to undo that. That's funny. It's showing up on my screen even when I'm looking at something different. Okay, sorry, a little distraction there. Okay, very important. Please make sure that your matching grant donors know that they cannot pay their matching grants through the website. And matching grants are not eligible for rewards. We do sometimes have donors who love the rewards so much that your best stewardship of those donors is going to be to let them know so they can say, oh, I don't want to give a matching grant. I really want to give through the website. Because we can get into all of that later if you want to know exactly why, but it's not how the matching grants work. And then the board matching grants must be a single payment only. So what this is basically a collective. You can have your board of directors, or some nonprofits have different groups of people. They might have a staff all get together and pool their funds for a matching grant, or you might have some other kind of advisory board, or you might even have a group of clients or parents of your clients, or any number of things. Be creative. that you can pool all of your funds to make one matching grant. And if you do that, the way to do that is you need to have one person who's in charge of coordinating all of that, so that they will collect all the funds, and all of those funds need to be made, all the checks or donations or whatever need to be pooled so that only one check is sent to the Give campaign for that matching grant. And you'll submit that with the submission form, just like the others.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so, sorry, I was just deleting those little annotations. Okay, so board matching grants or collective matching grants need to be a single payment. And the deadline for donors, so if you have a donor, this is very rare. I don't think it's ever happened since I have been in the 4 years that I was director of the Give campaign, but the matching grant, the idea behind it really is, the idea is that a donor is challenging the public to make donations to up to that amount of their matching grant so that your nonprofit will receive that matching grant. The idea is you need to get those donations. That matching grant needs to be matched in order for your organization to get those funds. Usually a donor is going to decide that they want to donate to you any of their matching grants, even if those matching grants don't get matched by donations from the public. But we do offer that option because it is truly a matching grant. And that option is that if a donor gives you a matching grant for $10,000, for example, and you don't raise quite $10,000 in the Give campaign, that donor has the option to request unmatched funds. So say they donate $10,000, you raise an additional $9,000, then $1,000 would be unmatched funds. So that is also part of the information that's provided to all your donors, so that they know that if they choose to do so, that they have that deadline to let the Give campaign know if they want to receive unmatched funds back to them. All right. So these are the kind of top line guidelines. Again, don't forget to check your matching grant information sheet and the matching grant toolkit for more information after we go through. All right, do we have some questions here? We usually have a lot of questions at this point. Please feel free to ask questions, especially if you're new and you don't really understand and you think other people already know.
Hey Barb, this is Chris from Funky. Sorry about the
Hey,
highlighter
Chris!
situation. That
It's
was
okay.
my
How's it
bad,
going?
and I was just cry laughing over here because I could not get out of it.
You're
My
creative.
question is, if I know, like in years past, we've talked about trying to get more streamline, a little more of an electronic situation for people to do matching grants. Is that anything that's happening anytime soon, or is it always going to be something we can rely on that's going to be like a check situation?
So I would say I can't speak detail about that since I was not involved last year in terms of what the efforts were toward that. I can tell you that, and also with new staff coming on, well, actually I should give Courtney and Rachel a chance if they have an answer to that question. But I can tell you that historically, the main reason for not doing that is that's going to be another fee on top of the funds that are being processed. And because matching grants are 1/3 of the amount of funds that are raised in the Give campaign, that both you and the Give campaign would raise much less in that case. I think it's possible that we could, that the Give campaign could offer that in a way that, included the donor having the opportunity to pay that fee on top of the Give campaign processing fee, but that kind of gets a little more difficult. So Courtney or Rachel, did you have anything more on that?
No, answered that beautifully. Thank you.
Welcome.
So for the check wise, would they need to bring it to so say somebody would need to bring it to me for the campaign for the grant, or where would they need to bring it?
So here's how that works. When you submit your matching grants using the submission form, it's the agreement. You're basically entering all the information for the agreement. When you press submit, it's going to create a PDF agreement and invoice that is going to be emailed to you, the submitter, and also to your donor, unless you put something in the form that makes it not go to them. You'll see that you'll have an option for who it all goes to. But normally that email will go to you, the nonprofit submitter, your donor, and also the bookkeeper for the Give campaign and Give. And that in that form, you'll see in the materials, there's an example of it. You can look at it. The form explains, it says, here's how much your matching grant is. Here's the nonprofit it's going to. Here is the date that it's due. Here is who to make the check out to. Here is the address to mail it to. And please include a copy of the invoice when you send the check. So whether you are going to be submitting that check or your donor is going to be submitting that check, they will have a copy of the invoice that will say, please print this invoice, put it in the envelope with the check, so that when the Give campaign receives a check for $500, Give knows for sure which nonprofit it belongs to, who the donor is, which grant it belongs to. The most complicated spreadsheet in the Give campaign is the matching grant spreadsheet. And the worst thing is when we lose track of who the $500 check is. Who does it go to? Which grantor and which nonprofit? So that's why it's really important to include a copy of that invoice when you pay your matching grants, or your donor pays your matching grants.
Okay.
Typically the donor will pay it.
Alrighty, so they would have to go through the website and they would get their own invoice, and so they would email it. So if somebody came in saying, hey, this is for your guys' grant, they would need to kind of go through the website first.
So you, the nonprofit, now I'm so glad you're asking these questions, because for people who've been in the campaign a long time, we just keep assuming that this is obvious, and it's not at all obvious. So thank you for asking this question. So you are the nonprofit liaison for your organization. You are going to talk to your donors, get them to pledge and agree to make a matching grant. You're going to gather all that information you need, and you're going to submit that using the matching grant submission form that you have a link to. So it's a Google form. So you're going to enter that, and it's really not meant to, we really encourage you to not send your donors to that form to submit all that information, because it's just mean and it's not good donor stewardship. I think I see Debbie shaking her head. No, don't do it. There are some donors who, like, they're really sophisticated. They don't mind. They'll be like, oh, sure, I'll do that. But I encourage you, do not do that. Collect the information from your donor. Use that matching grant information sheet. So, and that'll, if you, as long as you fill out, you sit down and talk to your donor, you fill out that matching grant information sheet, and then you'll have all the information to go to the submission form and fill out that matching grant agreement. So you're going to fill that out. And then when you submit that, in that form, it says, what's the email address of your donor that we should send the invoice to? There are some nonprofits that don't want that to go directly to their donor. They want to give it to their donor themselves. Most nonprofits will put their donor's email address in there, and their donor will know, when I submit this, you will get an email and it will have an invoice. So in the form that you, the nonprofit liaison, are submitting each matching grant for, you're going to enter your email address, the email address of your donor, and anyone else that you want to receive that invoice. And once you fill out all that information and press submit, then you will receive an email with that matching grant agreement in it and the invoice attached. So ideally, you do all that back end work for the donors.
Hi. Oh,
Hi.
Good.
this is Amy Silvas from Make It a Home, and we're new, and I have a strategy question.
Okay.
How ambitious should we be about the matching grant situation? Like, how high do you want that number to go? Or should you save some of your people to be the donors who can actually match your grant? Do you understand my question?
I do understand your question. And different people might have a different answer to this, but my answer is go as big as you can. Because donors are going to give more as a matching grant usually than if they're not, if they're just giving through the website. And so this is your chance to leverage the relationships that you have with your existing donors to raise more from them in a matching grant, and then be able to use that to leverage more funds from the public.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I would suggest. You're welcome. Thank you for that question. All right.
This is Harley Ferguson.
Hi.
Hi. Just a little add on that conversation. The other thing about matching grants is once you get somebody to give you a matching grant, it's not unusual for them to just keep doing that year after year. And you have that much better contact with them than your ordinary donors. I have one question. I'm on another board. I paid for a lump sum thing where all board members had agreed to pay their fair share. And one of them called me and said, I don't have a check, and you don't have any place that I can share the funds with you. I don't use those. So in that situation, you're saying that what they really should do is send me the check or New Horizons the check, and we somehow then get it to you?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what most nonprofits do. So all the board members write a check to New Horizons. Those all get added together. New Horizons deposits the money, say it's $500. And then New Horizons writes a check to the Give campaign, and you send it with the invoice that you have from the for the board matching grant.
Yeah.
And then we publish that on the website, matching grants, and people go, wow, that board is so committed to their organization that they made a matching grant. And then you get that money back at the end of the campaign.
And the on the website, are the matching grantors mentioned anywhere?
Yep. Yep. So in fact, toward the top, so it might take too long for me to like navigate and put one of these up. So on your profile on the website, it's going to have the name of your organization. It's going to have a nice picture that draws people's interest. And right next to that is going to say how much money you've raised so far in the campaign, how much money you have in matching grants, and who your matching grants are right there. So that is featured on the website, on your nonprofit's profile on the on the Give website. But just a note, there are some donors that want to be anonymous, and you'll see clear instructions for how to submit those, and we'll make them anonymous.
Last question. Remind me again where I get this form.
So you should be getting the newsletter, the email newsletter, class of 2022 from the Give campaign. And in every one of those newsletters, toward the bottom is a section that says resources. And there's a link for the resource library. And that one I actually have up, and I want to show it to you.
And you said it's a weekly newsletter?
Yes. Well, it's almost always weekly. Whoops. Do you all see this 2022 Give Nonprofit Resource Library? And it says something went wrong, reload. I don't know what that is, but there's a link in your newsletter. And if you're not getting your newsletter, definitely contact Give at givepikespeak.org. You can still send it to indiegive come, it'll get to us. But please email to make sure that you're getting those newsletters, and they'll have a link for the resource library, and it'll look like this. And at the top is the welcome packet information. Best practices, all kinds of really good stuff here. And if you don't already see this nice handy little outline over here, you can go up to view and view the outline. Oops. And then you can scroll down and say, I want the matching grant information. It's right here. And you can click on that. And here's your toolkit. Here's your matching grant information sheet. Here's where to submit your matching grants. That'll take you to the submission form. Fee calculator for donors who want to pay the fee. You can see how much, and that most donors highly recommend. Ask them, let them know. Part of what helps the Give campaign function is the service fee. Give your donors the opportunity to pay that fee. And that way, it's a little bit more for you in that. Oh yeah, treasure map. I was going to mention that. I'm so glad it's in there. We still need to make a link for the W-9 for some businesses are going to want the W-9, but this is what that looks like.
Barb, we can't hear you very well again.
Oh shoot. Okay, you know what? Is this better? Oh, that does not sound better. To me. So I unplugged my my earbuds. Is this better? Or no?
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
That sounds tentative. All right, let's try that. Oh, technology. Okay.
I have a question on invoices, if I could make it, please. This is Debbie. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
absolutely. Yes.
So here's the thing about the invoices, because you do the submission piece in August and they don't pay until October, they get their invoice right away. And we've had several times where it's like, oh, the people didn't send in their money for the matches. And wasn't because they didn't intend to, but they absolutely did say they didn't get an invoice, they forgot about it. So the good thing is that you actually have a copy that says it was sent to them and where it was sent to, even when it's sent to the correct email. So my suggestion is that a little bit before that October date, you just do a friendly, some kind of reminder that they got their invoice whenever they got it. Because then you don't have to go, oh, shoot, I'll get in touch with them. I don't know why they didn't pay or whatever. So it's happened to us almost every year with somebody because they just aren't paying attention.
Yep, thank you for that, Debbie. That does happen every year. And one thing that the staff is totally committed to doing this year, and I know in some years it did not happen, doing exactly what you asked for. Actually, I think September 23rd might be the date that staff is planning to send. So they're due in October 7th. And so I think the last week in September, the staff is planning to send reminders with the invoice to all of the donors.
And that's very good because sometimes too, the email they give, they say, oh, I never checked that email. It's like, well, why did you put that email? You know, it's the email
Yes.
versus the personal email. So I'm just saying, if it happens, don't panic, but if you can do a reminder.
Thank you. Yep, we will.
Is that a reminder only to those that have not paid, I hope?
Yes. Yes, exactly. As long as we had really good data entry, which the Give campaign does our best to have a good data entry. They are humans. Thank goodness they're humans, but it does mean that sometimes errors happen. So, but yes, that's the plan, is they only get sent to people, to the donors who've not paid.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to this. All right, so let's dive into the 5 keys to fundraising. So I love how many people raised their hand and said that they had attended this fundraising training when Michael Hannigan gave it. My dad loves to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And although there have been many great developments in fundraising strategy, many of which are very good and helpful, the very key foundational keys to fundraising truly have not changed. And you'll see what I mean when I go through this. I really do like to credit Michael Hannigan for creating these. And every time I've given this training again, I've thought, well, maybe I'll update it. And I'm like, nope, those are still the right ones. There are 5 of these keys to fundraising. And the first one might seem very obvious, but it's the one that trips up the most people. People give because they are asked. So again, seems very obvious, but it's really easy, especially for folks who you got into doing the work that you're doing because you care so much about children's, singing or taking care of animals or whatever all of those missions are, kids on bikes and, all of them. You didn't get into this because you love fundraising, right? But what's really important is that you translate that excitement and enthusiasm for your mission, why you're doing this work, into your fundraising. And so when you are getting ready to ask people, it's really easy to get caught up in, well, how exactly do I want to say it? And what's the best day? And what should be my strategy? And do I really have enough history with this donor? And who's the best person to ask? What matters more than your strategy, more than your history with the donor, more than how you frame your ask? It matters more than what documents you have to bring with you. What matters most is that you ask. You have to do the ask. One of my favorite fundraising trainers that many have heard me talk about is Kim Klein. And I always go back to the epiphany that I had really with her 20 years ago when I first started fundraising. And I personally struggled with asking, that it can be really easy for us to think that when we're asking someone for money, that we are doing something not nice to them, that we are somehow wanting to take something away from them, that we are inconveniencing them, that we're making them feel bad. It's really easy for us to fall into that. But what's really important is to recognize that the truth is asking someone for money for your organization is a gift. You are giving them the gift of the opportunity to make a difference in the world on something that they care about. If you don't ask them, you are not giving them that opportunity to make a difference. And really internalizing and understanding and believing that is going to help you more than anything. If you have, trepidations around asking people to donate, you really are giving them that opportunity. This is the point in the training where what I love to ask people, and let's see if it'll work with raising your hand. You don't have to look at the list of the participants. So on Zoom, either using the Zoom hand raising, or you can use one of the, where is it on here that you can do reactions? So find on the-
It should be on the bottom.
On the bottom, find reactions. And so hand clap or thumbs up or raise hand, any of those. Raise hand might be the best. So if you have ever asked someone for money and didn't feel perfectly comfortable, had a little bit of it's kind of hard to do, but I'm going to make myself do it. Look at all the hands. I love it. All these people. Yes. Okay. So now leave your hands up. This is why the hand works better than the reactions. So raise your hand if you've ever asked for money and then you were a little bit uncomfortable and it was really hard. It was kind of hard. So now, let me get this right. Keep your hand up Oh, sorry, I did both of those at the same time. So including raising your hand if you, sorry. I'm terrible. This is where I get confused and I confuse everyone else. It's good. Keep your hands up. So now my question for you is, if keep your hand up, if you then became more comfortable asking for money. It's okay if some people bring your hands down. So now your hands are up. If you have been uncomfortable asking for money and you did it, and then you became more comfortable. So now I would like to hear from those folks whose hands are still up. Give us an idea of what you did, how you became more comfortable asking for money. What did you do? Go ahead and break in.
Push through the fear. And then it's easier to do it the second time.
Okay, so you did it again. You asked for money again.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my favorite answer. What else did people do? That might be the only answer. You just do it.
Barb, I
Any other answer?
Oh, everybody's talking. Sorry. Barb, I try to think of it as like building a relationship and, you know, talking to them about their family and their friends and the things that's going on in their life and trying to include them in what we're doing, and think of it more as like a friendship relationship than a donor relationship. Typically.
Yes. And the very best.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Tagging on to what Susan just said, we do a lot at Stable Strides with the relationship building type side of things. We made it also that, granted, this took a little bit of budgeting on our part and working with our board quite a bit, but we incorporated, especially this year, of we might ask you, but it's not always going to be an ask. We like to bring you lunch or bring you coffee, or what can we do for you in return, or training or something like that that we give back to the organizations or the donors. To show that it's not always us asking for money, but it's us trying to find small ways, even without really a budget, to give back to them as well, to kind of cultivate that relationship more. That this year, actually, we increased our sponsorships alone by over $25,000 because we started incorporating those things and people gave more money. So far it's working.
Cool. That's awesome. What other?
Realizing people are willing to say yes and willing to donate or offer more money, where initially there's a little bit of nervousness of, will they say no? But once you have the experience of people willing to, to support, then it's encouraging for future asks.
That's great. Yes, having a few yeses under your belt does make it easier.
I think it is important to hone your message when you talk to, when you do make the ask, so that it's, smooth and compelling. One of the things that we've done this year is we've had corporate sponsors and matching grantors sort of separate, and we're combining those two and doing it all through Give. So it's we're able to say, oh, look at all this stuff you get if you're a matching grantor, because
that's great. And Harley, we would love to know how that goes at the end too. Thank you. What else? This is some of the best part, when you all are sharing what you guys do.
I'll jump in on Harley's comment. We have been also kind of packaging our sponsorships to include the matching grant. So right now we have an event happening in September. So I'm looking for sponsors for that event, and I'm talking to them also about doing the matching grant at the same time. So it's kind of like, if you could do both of these events, and then for some donors that like to feel extra special, I can give them a little discount off of our September event if they commit to the $500 or more Give matching grant. So kind of, bundling it with your sponsorships for your other events also has worked well for us.
That is creative leveraging. Thank you, Susan. And someone in the chat mentioned it's not just a gift to the donor when you ask them, but it's a compliment. And I think that is very true also. I also wanted to mention, Angie said, sometimes they might say no. One thing that's really important to remember as well is that no, if a donor does say no, it doesn't mean no forever. That it can often be actually a door of opportunity opening that you just don't realize it at the time. And so understanding, deepening that relationship with the donor, trying to learn where they're at, why. It's okay to ask why, or to ask, well, can we ask at another time? Or any of those things, because truly it's developing that relationship, that real relationship with people who care so much about your mission, that over the long term is going to build the impact, build your ability to do your work.
Barb, it's also very likely that you'll feel more uncomfortable every time they say no. That was an attempt at humor.
Oh, I was like, just ask him again. No, actually, in one of a couple of years ago in this training, because I was listening to it again, somebody had said that one of their donors said no, but one of their other board members didn't know that donor said no, and they asked, and the donor said yes. Which it's not that you want to be asking them again after they said no, but sometimes, people's circumstances change. Okay, so the first key of fundraising is that people have to be asked. And the second key, we've already really talked about this, is that people give more when they are asked by someone that they know. So one of the takeaways for this is, just because Bill and Melinda Gates donate a lot of money, don't spend your time and effort trying to get their phone numbers. Developing relationships with people you already know care about your mission is the best way to build your donor base and to find more and new matching grant donors. This is a really important place for your board of directors and other leadership to come in and be part of your work around the Give campaign. They should be involved with you in strategizing and brainstorming who they know. Now, there are some different beliefs about whether all board members should be making their own fundraising asks. Whether or not you think that all board members should be doing that, I would say they at least should all be willing to make warm introductions to folks who they know, who might care about the organization. And this is where the treasure map comes in. So those of you who have not heard the term treasure map, and this is what was in it's one of the links in the resource library. This comes from the Benavon model, which is the fundraising model that a lot of the free breakfasts and other events come from. And it's this very simple idea, this treasure mapping, where maybe your board of director group of people all get together and just do a little bit of brainstorming together about who you might know that you can ask. So the idea is you're mapping out different parts of your life, people you know. Who do you work out with at the gym? Who's in your book club? Who, family members, who you work with or you used to work with, or a good friend of yours works at this company that, has said they care about this issue. When you sit down with a group of people to do that treasure mapping, it helps to spark creativity and you'll come up with more and more ideas. Again, focus on people that you know, or people that someone knows, because really it is developing those real relationships to ask. And again, it might feel like, oh, well, I know that person from my book group, but I haven't asked them for money, and maybe it wouldn't be nice to ask them for money. But then you have to remember, do you care about that person enough that you want to give them the opportunity? to support something that you really care about. And a no doesn't mean no, I don't like you. It means no, that's not where I want to put my money. And the more you practice being able to make that ask and not have it be a personal thing, the easier it gets. And one of the things I love to say about that as well, that overcoming this feeling of, having a phobia or something around asking for money, research truly shows that practicing, that getting close to people who have really serious like clinical phobias, the way to get over them is to get close to them. If you're afraid of snakes, actually spending more time getting a little closer in a room and a little closer in a room and that sort of thing. That is how people overcome phobias. So the more you do this, the easier it will get, and the more money you'll raise for your nonprofit, and the more friends you'll raise. Okay, so people give more because they are asked by someone they know. And number 3 is for a nonprofit that they are aware of. So this doesn't mean don't ask people that you know who don't know your organization, but it means make sure that you're asking the people that you know who know your organization. They are going to be your best prospects. Although they get even better as we go down to number 3, 4, and 5. But this also gets at part of the power of the Give campaign is raising awareness about the work that you do. And it's also giving you a lot of tools and also a lot of deadlines to get better at talking about what your organization does. So Harley, what you said about really honing your message, really learning how the best way to talk about the work that you do, that is a big part of the impact, your ability to raise money, and the better you get at that, the better you're going to do in the Give campaign. And the more you talk to people about the work that you do, the more they know, the more people know about the work that your organization does. Another sort of tangent on this is that utilizing the matching grants is going to help spread your message, because matching grants are so powerful that there are people, and I know this because we got phone calls. There are people who are so motivated by the matching grant that they're going to learn about your organization because they want to donate to some group in the community and they want their money to be doubled. They want their money to be matched. They're like, I have $10 to give, but I want it to become $20. And when I was at the Give campaign, people would call and say, like halfway through the campaign, and they would just want to know which organizations had not met their match yet. So just a story about that. And the matching grants really are a call to action, and you want to utilize them as a call to action. Once you've raised your matching grants, you want to make sure that you are getting out there to the public saying, we need you to match, we need you to donate to match these grants that we've gotten. Okay. And then, go ahead.
In practice, what you tell the potential grantor is that, and the donor, that their donation is matched by the matching grant. And in practice, there's no real matching, right?
So we're getting into the quantum physics of
I know.
matching grants here.
But I think it is important for everybody to be aware that I don't know, you can almost perceive it as a little deception, but it is because that practice doesn't really happen, but it's a good message and a good feeling.
So I know what you're saying there, and you might not agree with me, but I don't believe that it's a deception. And the reason I like to say it's a little bit like quantum physics is because when it is observed, when it actually happens and you observe it, it is real. It's true. It is in fact a matching grant. It is a matching grant because your donors said, I want to give you a matching grant to challenge the public to donate more to you. And then people in the public see that there's a matching grant and that their donations will be increased by that matching grant. And it works. So it works. It actually, when you observe it, it is real. It actually happens. And that's partly why we switched to saying the matching grants have to be paid in advance, because we don't want to be saying there's a matching grant when there's not really a matching grant. The part that might not be what it says it is when the donor says, well, maybe if you didn't raise enough money to meet all the matching grants the matching grant that I gave you, I will give you the money anyway. And that's a choice they make at the end of the campaign. Most of them, because they've been doing this a while, they know that they're going to give it to you anyway. But you know, maybe it's an article of faith for me, but I believe it's a real thing.
So some of them actually ask for money back,
They have the opportunity to.
but they don't, do they?
They usually don't. No, I haven't known of any. I think it has happened before, but not since I've been involved with the Give campaign. Yeah. Okay, so people give even more because they are asked by someone they know for a nonprofit they are aware of, and to a nonprofit that they respect and believe makes a positive impact. So this is where we get into the real importance of having a good plan and being able to describe the impact of the work that you do. We really encourage all nonprofits to have a strategic plan. Now, you don't have to invest $10,000 and hire a fancy consultant to help you put together a strategic plan. If you can, that might be great and have a huge impact. But you really need to understand how the work you're doing is making the impact that your organization's mission is to have. And you wouldn't need to be able to talk to donors about that, because when you can show and demonstrate that you understand and that you have a history of taking the actions that are going to have the impact that your organization is working for, you are going to build that respect, and people are going to see and believe in the positive impact that you have, and then they're going to give more money. This is also where it's good to remember that people believe that they give to nonprofits usually for because, oh, I'm giving to this nonprofit because I know that they use money well, and I know how many animals they've rescued, or I know how many kids have been through their basketball camps. But the truth is that people give with their hearts. People care, and when they can connect with the mission and the importance of how you are changing lives, that's really what motivates people to give. But the other information about how many people are helped, knowing that you keep your financials really well, knowing, maybe all of those kind of more intellectual details, it helps people justify the donations that they want to give, but people really give with their hearts. So being able to connect people with that positive impact, not just to describe it and explain it, is really important. And then number 5 is that people give even more and sacrificially. This is very true when they're asked, not just by someone they know in a nonprofit that they know, but that has made a dramatic and life-changing impact on themselves or a family member or a close friend. I know that many of the groups in the Give campaign already know this, but in case you don't, if your organization is serving people who are going through difficulty in any way, whether it's folks who are in crisis or do sometimes go through crisis and you're helping them when they are there, perhaps you're serving people who have less resources, you're providing some kind of service, information, whatever, for folks who maybe have less money, for example. Really important to understand that you would be taking away from them if you don't give them the opportunities to support your organization. So really part of this, the message here is, don't think that, oh, well, I know this organization really well, and they are, or I know these people very well, and I know that their family maybe doesn't have that many resources, so I don't want to ask them for money. Don't make that mistake, because the people who have had that life-changing impact of your organization, maybe they can't give very much right now, but don't make that choice for them by not asking. And be sure to understand that that you're also cultivating relationships and donors over the long term. And even if they can't give very much now, or they can't give now, in the future they might want to. And you really are honoring their experience by asking them. Okay. There's always more to say on all of this, but the most important part of this training, by the way, you will be able to get a copy of these slides afterwards. But the most important part of this training is that part where where you practice. So I didn't say this at the outset. I meant to. So sorry to be springing on this on you now. But what we are going to be doing, the most valuable thing that you can do to get better at raising money in the Give campaign is to practice. And so what we want to do now, and not just to practice, but also to talk with each other, so you're not just hearing me and the few folks who've already shared. So we are going to have everyone go into some small groups. We're going to pick groups of 4 people, and it's going to be for 15 minutes. And what this QR code is, and hopefully Rachel, if she hasn't already, can also put the link in the chat. Oh, sorry, I'm moving the wrong slide. Here we go. This QR code, if you want to use your phone to pull it up, or we'll have the link in the chat. This is going to bring you to a sample script. It's fairly simplistic, but especially, so for some of you who already know your pitch, you've given it many times, this will be a great opportunity for you to share it with some other people in the Give campaign, get some feedback, and or if you're new and you haven't done this a lot, that you'll have a chance to practice and get some feedback from some of your colleagues in the Give campaign. So let's see. Rachel or Courtney, can you see if you can drop that? Actually, it might not be that simple. If the link, the way to get that link in the chat is, it is going to, well, we'll do it in a minute, but so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into small groups using the Zoom small group feature. So what's going to happen is when we're ready, you'll see something on your screen about joining a group. So click that and join the group. And then on this document here, it's going to give you instructions, which really is just going to be pick at least one person. Ideally, all 4 of you decide to practice your asking script. So you can choose which person is going to go first, who's going to give their pitch. You're asking for a matching grant. You're asking for, you're explaining what the matching grant, how the matching grant works, the impact that it has on your organization, but especially you are saying the words, will you make a donation as a matching grant of $1,500 to my organization? All right, go Denny, he put the link in there. So there's the link. And or you can use your phone with this, with the QR code. And I think we're ready. So Rachel, are you ready to send everyone into the small groups?
We are ready. I just want to let you know there's a couple groups that only have 3, so you'll get extra practice.
Okay. And if anyone has
All
trouble,
right.
you should have the ability to jump out and then back in.
All right, here we go.
All right. this is the first time I've seen the back end of the rooms. I feel like I didn't introduce that very well, but that's all right.
People were jumping off like
Uh-huh.
crazy.
I could have started by saying, don't jump off. And now I kind of wish that I had, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Some people are going to do that regardless.
Yeah, and I did assign them based on trying to break them up between folks who've been in. Yeah.
Awesome.
So they can't hear us right now, or they can?
Only if someone comes out of the Zoom room.
Doesn't it look like some of them are not in rooms right now?
Yes.
Well, Adam.
Yeah.
Those who can hear, I think.
Was anyone else supposed to be in room 6? Because I seem to have been in there alone.
Okay.
It looks like people weren't, people are not accepting the join. It looks like. There we go.
Oh, one person has joined yours, so you can join that group now.
All right. How do I rejoin that?
Rachel, you need to reassign. I don't know if you can.
I might have to be reassigned to that group because I left it. I've never left a breakout room before. I have no idea how to jump back in. Thank you.
Oh, you do.
I think I was in. Yeah, I was in 6.
Yep, you're in 6.
Thank you.
There we go.
How did you do that,
Oh,
Courtney?
you know what? I think there are some people who are on but might not be listening or monitoring their computer. Folks who have not joined.
Yeah.
Courtney, how did you reassign her?
I just put her in an empty room real quick, and then the move to came back.
Gotcha.
Move
Okay.
to option.
I see. Got it.
I'm still assigning people. All right, I'm gonna hop in a room and just kind of see what's going on.
Which one are you going into? I was about to do the same.
I will go into room 2.
Okay. Barb, what room are you going to go into?
I'll go into 3.
3?
Yeah. Do you, or you know what?
It looks like no one. What?
Oh, I'm actually 4. You're right, room 4. But I was about to say I should let you go into a room.
Oh, and you stay out?
Yeah, because one of us
Okay.
needs to stay out, but I feel like
Yeah.
it would maybe be even more valuable. I just want to make sure that if someone comes out, it looks like I have the breakout rooms in process, but
Okay.
if somebody comes out, I want to know how to help them get back in. And so where did you see them? Was it under
So and I don't know what you're seeing. So if you just click on the name or hover over the name of the person
but I'm seeing
in the room.
people's names under rooms. Yeah. Oh, and then it says
So
if someone goes out of all the rooms, then do they come to unassigned?
it still shows them in there, but
okay, I see.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, yeah, you guys go ahead. I can do that. And
Okay.
did you set it for 15 minutes and it do that timer at the end?
I did not, because I did not know how to do that, but we'll just keep track of it and I can broadcast a message when we're getting close.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I'm going to go into room
All
4.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, we'll probably go ahead and send a message.
Oh, I did.
Okay, great.
Did you see one? Did you see one that said 3 minutes?
No, I was probably in between rooms, so.
Okay. Yeah, I did a little broadcast.
Great.
So we'll give it another 1 minute, I think.
Okay.
Were they doing a pitch in the room you joined?
Oh, it was more strategy conversations, and
yeah,
I mean, I was the naughty one that would do that too. Do a quick pitch and then be like, but what about this?
I wish I could do like there's a close all rooms button, but it's kind of abrupt.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm just going to say 15 minutes. Oh, did that not go? Maybe it didn't.
Oh. We'll just tell them we're bringing them back.
Oh, yeah. I guess it didn't go before. Somehow, I guess I didn't press. Okay, I'll just at least give them a chance to say goodbye to each other. All right. And oh, I see. They will be returned in 60 seconds.
Yay.
I guess they'll get a message that that's happening. That's nice. And now we know that that's how that works.
Yes.
No.
And there we go. Amy went sideways. There you go.
Oh gosh.
Hopefully that wasn't too abrupt.
Where did, I lost Sydney.
Yes, I'm here.
I was mid-sentence.
Same.
Go ahead, finish.
Please do.
Because you're working with a population that really will benefit from those kinds of relationships and that kind of activity and that kind of energy, hit that really hard in your messaging, because there's such, I think, passion right now about reaching out to kids because of all the mental health issues and all the isolation issues that they're still dealing with. And that's a population I think that you really look to reach out to. That's who you serve, right? Am I right?
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for that.
All right, so I want to respect everyone's time. We have 5 more minutes, but I do want to ask, because this can be the most valuable part, does someone else, so what Beth just said was a perfect example that you'll hear and learn things from each other that are going to help you in your campaign. Does anyone have something to share from their small group that was really helpful that you want to share? Don't be shy. Who practiced their ask? I know that a lot of people just talked about their nonprofits and their strategy. Raise your
I'm
hand.
sorry, I was muted and I was talking away. So John Carroll from Special Kids Special Families told us what his organization was about. And my wife has a family member who might have in the past or in the future benefit from that organization. So just that conversation may get him a donation. So.
Oh my gosh, that totally happened a couple years ago. Raise your hand if you raised money at this event from someone doing that. Oh, next time, it actually happened 2 years ago. It happened. Somebody made a pitch and gave money. I should have said that at the beginning. You have to stay and do the small groups and do your pitch because you might raise money. The real thing. Anything else? Okay, well, real quick, our last couple of slides are just what's next. These are reminders to assess the strength of your database. Who do you have in your list of nonprofit, in your list of donors? Make sure that you have a good way to keep track when people donate to you, and utilize that database to know. And it might just be a very sophisticated Excel spreadsheet. Knowing who your top donors are and really maintaining those relationships well. Who on your board or staff is going to be able to do those asks. You need to know who you're going to ask. You need to make a plan. You need to know who's going to do the asking and keeping track. Make sure that you utilize all your networks and really get creative, because we often don't ask groups of people because we don't think of them as, oh, they're not the donor people. Those are the other people. Like, ask them too. Make sure that you have a strategic plan, meaning that you know how you are accomplishing your mission and that you can talk about it. Make sure you have a plan. How are you going to be marketing and communicating the work that you do, how people can give to you in the Give campaign, how you're going to leverage all of these different aspects of the Give campaign to get your message out and to bring in those donors. We are sometimes a broken record with this, but the Give campaign is a platform and it's a set of tools. The more tools you use, it's kind of, and the more you bounce on the trampoline will double bounce you, but you have to jump. That the more you make plans for how you're going to use all the different aspects of the Give campaign, the more successful you're going to be in all of those things. All right. And what's your ability to implement those plans? Our last slide is always just extra time for Q&A. If there are more questions, please let us know. I also want to just make a reminder that we have a new phone number and a new mailing address, as well as that new URL, givepikespeak.org, that we're going to be really excited to do the big public launch for this year. If anyone's worried, we've had so many years of indiegive.com. Anybody that goes to indiegive.com will get to givepikespeak.org. So that should be seamless. But everything will work better if you use the new phone number and the new address instead of the old ones. What questions do folks have?
If we wanted to view this recording in case we missed something, is there a place we could watch it again, or?
Yep, absolutely. It will be in the resource library. There's going to be a link, if there's not already, for the slides and videos of all the trainings.
Okay.
Yep, and look for that in your email newsletter. Make sure you're getting it. If you're not getting it, please reach out to Rachel or Courtney. Email give@givepikespeak.org, and they can help troubleshoot making sure that you get that newsletter. All right, and one more time, Courtney, the next training is
It
when?
is July 21st, and we will be at Penrose Library. Hopefully, no more COVID hitting us. And again, like I said, that one's going to be a really good one, because we all have struggles with our boards. Sorry, Barb, you're my board, but you're wonderful. But yeah, it's going to be an excellent training. So I highly suggest you attend that one.
What exactly is that training again on the 21st?
It's going to be, so it's how to leverage your board and how to get the most out of your board is how I would describe it.
Okay.
Really knowing how to handle and ask what your board can do for you. What they're supposed
Amber
to
has,
do.
I know she's done the roles and responsibilities, and sort of how boards can most effectively organize themselves to impact the organization. Everyone being in their right lanes and all that sort of thing.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And remember that you can invite anyone from your organization to these trainings. Any of your staff, any of your volunteers, any of your board members. It's one of the huge benefits in the Give campaign. We are always finding really great trainers who not only know their material really well, but are good at training, often much better than me at training. So please utilize that benefit for the Give campaign. And we want to respect your time, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up. It is so wonderful to see you all. I wish that it was in person. I hope to see all of you in person at the next training or another event sometime soon. And don't forget to reach out with any questions that you have to the Give staff.
Thank you, Barb.
Thank you,
Good
Barb.
luck raising lots of money.
Thank you. That's the plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.